ajabu, wa ajabu, wa ajabu, ajabu, ewe Yesu, wa ajabu.
Matendo yako ya ajabu, ukuu wako wanistaajabu. Kenya Arizona Diaspora Hope TV, giving hope to the society.
Hi guys, my name is Blessing Wamboi Mugo na nimeokoka. Mimi ni mzaliwa wa Nakuru County, but generally home is in Nyandarua. I'm from a family of 4, my late parents and my elder brother. And I'm the last born of the 2 kids. Growing up, life was not easy and it was not difficult. I lost my parents at a very young age. My mom passed on when I was 2 months old, and she was poisoned, food poisoning. And my maternal grandma took us in. She took care of me as young as 2 years. Back then, my brother was around 4 years, and she took us in. She took care of us. 3 years later, my dad also passed because he went into depression after mom passed on, and he got into drinking. And you know, when you drink too much and you're eating less, your body becomes weak, your organs fail, and I believe that is what happened because he was found in his house dead. And that was the beginning of life. We continued living with my maternal grandma. After like when I got 4 years, my aunties, the brother to my dad, came and they said they wanted to take care of us, and all those stuff, but it didn't happen. Of course, there were mistreatments, no eating, no school, no nothing for like 3 years. And back then I didn't know anything. I was not well knowledge to know what I deserved and what I did not deserve, but my brother knew better and he kept on complaining until the auntie took us to a different auntie who said she wanted to find a sponsor who could take us to school and do those stuffs, but it never happened. When we went there, by good luck, we found a woman who was willing to help pay for our school fees. But again, it turned out our auntie needed that money for herself. And there were a lot of quarrels, conflict, to a point where my brother had to say, now we need to go back to our grandma. And my auntie said, if you're going back, don't come back. And that was the beginning of another journey. So we went back to my grandma's house because our auntie threw us out and she didn't know what to do. From my mom's side, there were a lot of kids. From my mom's side, there are 13 kids, but nobody was ready to accommodate us back then. Everybody was like, I cannot handle 2 kids. Putting into consideration, I had another auntie who had also passed on. She left 10 kids, 8 kids were with grandma, plus her own 3 kids, plus another 4 kids because my grandpa was of 2 wives. The second wife died, and now the first wife, who is my maternal grandma, had to take care of also the 4 kids. So the burden was too much, and nobody was there. Nobody was willing to take us in, and that brought us to a point where we had to find a solution, or she had to find a solution to help us get a better life. And we ended up in a children's home called Community Recovery Center of Africa, CLCA. It's located in Naivasha, Karai, and that is where my life began. I went to school. Back then I was 12 years. I went to school, primary school. I began in a local primary school, but considering that I was a bright student, I got a privilege of going to an academy called Valis Lily. It's also in Naivasha. I did my KCP back in 20 2009, I performed well and went to Jomo Kenyatta High School. Now, life in the children's home was not bad, but every life or every step when you're growing, every step has its own challenges. Um, we lost our dad, the dad of the home, when he was in Form 2. Basically, he was my closest friend because I was a kid, and growing up, I was not able to open up to people. I could not talk to the caretakers. I felt that I was discriminated. I felt that I was hated. I felt that I was not receiving enough love. And the only person that I was opening up to was dad. So when I got into Form 2 and dad passed on, I went into a phase where I became depressed, because as a young teenager, you have things that are disturbing you. You cannot share with anybody. And back then, my brother was also not in the home. He had already moved out after high school, and I did not know what to do. And I battled depression. In that phase, high school, Form 1, Form 2, my grades began deteriorating. I was failing, and when I go home, I was told, you're doing nothing, you're not studying hard, you're not doing enough. And I felt hated to a point where we were not in terms with mom of the home, and it was very difficult for me. But by the grace of God, I finished high school, and putting in mind that we were not friendly with the caretakers. Personally, I was not, because I felt that I was not receiving enough love like I would want. And there were also periods where after we break for school holidays, we were given opportunities to go say hi to our guardians. And also at home, there were challenges. I remember my grandma had left home because of family issues for 2.5 years. So I actually didn't have a place to call her home. I could not go home because grandma was not home. And it became difficult for me because I don't have a normal home where I can go to during school breaks. And the home that I am in, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel loved, I don't feel privileged like the other kids I see in the community also. And life continued. My depression, I tried suicide 5 times. So it's sad, and looking back, I think I would have made better choices. But the grace of God sustained me. I didn't die. God preserved me, I believe, so for a better living and for a better future that I have now.
Kenya Arizona Diaspora Hope TV, giving hope to the society.
So I became arrogant, and I believe every teenager goes through this. There comes a time when you see like everybody is against you, nobody is supporting you, nobody is listening to you, and that was the phase that I was going through. But because I was not able to open up to the caretakers at the home, I went through a rough time, to a point where I was sent away. Now you have to go begin your life. Of course, I passed after high school, so I expected I wanted to go to college. I wanted to do nursing. Um, but I got an enrollment in Kirinyanga University to go teaching, and I said I'm not going to do teaching, and I'm not going to go that, and I refused. And I was told, no, because you don't want to go to school with whatever you've got, you have to sort your own life. So I got out of the home, and I started life. The first thing I did, I became a house girl for a month or so. But the woman I was working for was a drunkard. So every time there were quarrels, fights, non-reasonable things. We had discussions zile. They were not making sense. And I was like, now, I don't want to go home to Shosho because she's old and she won't have a means of providing to me. So I had to do anything to just make sure I don't go home. And I was like, if it's ending up in the streets, then I am ready for that. So I called one of my friends, these people who go visiting orphanages. I had a friend who left me his number. His name is Mike. He was studying back then, he was in KU. I called him, I told him, Mike, this is what I'm going through and I am homeless. And I don't want to go home because my grandma suffers from diabetes, arthritis, and some other tugonjwa. Unajua, these old people, they have their own tugonjwas. And I was like, now it's either me or her. And I told him I don't want to go home. I don't want her to be depressed because I'm not going to college and all blah blah stuff. So he connected me with one of his friends who took me in. Also, she was a mom, but her kids were all grown up. They were outside the country, and it's a home where when you get in, you're told the TV is mine. Don't touch it. Don't touch anything. So your work is to go and sleep and go away in the morning. And I was like, I'm looking, or what I was missing was love. What I was missing was accommodation, somebody who would understand, somebody who would listen. But also the mama did not give me that. And one night, after it was on a Sunday, I left church. I used to go to praise and worship team and practices. So one day I came home late and she was like, I'm not going to open that gate. And I slept outside, like it was raining. The mama didn't open the gate. I was like, now what do I do? I rang the bell like 10 times. Nobody opened. And I was like, now I cannot do this. So when morning came and the gate person opened, she told me, I was told, nisikufungulia. And I was like, okay. So I just went in, picked my things and left. I didn't have even a shilling in my pocket. And I was like, it's a week after I've been accommodated. And I was like, it's back to square one. I didn't know what to do. And again, I had a friend from high school who used to come visiting with her mom, his mom, nikiwa children's home. Walikuwa na coming visiting days because my grandma was not around. So I knew where she was working. Mali alikuwa ameka shop yake. She was selling charcoal. And I left. I went. I did not tell her anything. I just went inside her store and nikajifungia ndani and I cried for like 4 hours. So she kept calling me, asking me what happened, and I was not able to tell her sina mahali pa kwenda. But by God's grace, that woman took me in for a week, and then nikapata job ya kufunza. Shule ilikuwa academy in Mwea. So nikaenda kufunza. And when I went to teach, that time I was not over with my depression because I had not yet gotten what I wanted. So when I went to teach in that academy, the owner of the school told me, because I know unatafuta school fees urudi shule, I'm going to do that. Ukifunga shule, nitakupeleka college. I wanted to go to KMTC, so I had applied. like 3 times. Um, but the man had his own agendas. He had hidden agendas, and of course, we know what most of these ungodly people want. And when I did not give in, I was demoted from a teacher to a matron. So imagine every morning you're washing vyombo za watoi. Okay, there is ujia 6, there is chaya 7, there is tia 10, there is lunch, and there is supper. So even before you're done washing utensils za 6 asubuhi, za saa moja zimekaa. Before you're done with za saa moja, chai ya saa 4. Before you're done with saa 4, lunch. Before you're done with lunch, supper. So it's like the whole of the day niko kwa maji naosha vyombo, and I'm still looking out kitchen kama kuna people and all that stuff. And back then I was so, yani nilikuwa kamwili kangu kalikuwa kadogo, so I was very young, and that time I was like, I cannot handle this. If nobody is willing to help me, then I think my life has no meaning. That time I tried suicide. I actually overdosed, and somebody realized that I was not okay. Nilikuwa nakaa kwa servants quarter kwa hiyo shule. So one of the teachers was a very good friend of mine. Alikuwa anaitwa Frida Karini, and that girl, until today we are friends, and she helped me a lot. She came in, found me in. I was sleeping, nilikuwa natoa pofu. So nikapelekwa hosi, and nilikaa hapo hosi. But when I was in that hospital, I was like, this is the 5th time I try suicide, but I'm not dead. God, what do you want with my life? And that is when I decided to give my life to Christ mzuri. Wacha ile yenye, you know, I hear people say tunakokanga mara 5 kabla now you're serious. Now I have to become serious with God, because I was like, God, if I didn't die, then there must be a reason. The 5th time, if I didn't die, there must be a reason. And when I was in that hospital bed, God gave me a song, and I felt inside of me that I want you to go through this suffering, because I believe it will give you strength, it will give you the knowledge, it will give you the know-how of treating people in the community the way I want them to be treated, of loving people in the community the way you want to be loved. That's something that you fight for so much, but you don't find it's what I want you to give out. And I got well, and I decided now I'm going to go back to my church. I went back home. By God's grace, somebody paid for my sponsorship. I got into college. I did public relations. And then later on, I did counseling psychology higher diploma. And my life began there. I went to see a counselor. I went through counseling. I battled depression until I was okay. That was in 2017. That is when I got free, and I was feeding. Now I'm at a position where I'm no longer depressed. I can handle my life. After campus, God has been gracious. I live alone. I do businesses as well as ministry. I'm into full-time ministry in a church called Gospel Revival Center. It's in Freewood, Thika Road. That is where I serve, and God gave me people who love me, people who accommodated me. A man of God, Overseer Robert, he took me in as his own daughter. He has supported me in so many ways. Zile hata sometimes takangi kwa kusema, because I don't understand how, because he has been one person who has been a father figure to me. In my life, the first person I felt ananipenda was my reverend. But back then he was a reverend, now he's an overseer. That is the first time I felt loved. He gave me an opportunity to serve in his church. He gave me an opportunity to become his PA. Yani, a lot of things that brought out my growth. And then I loved to do charity works. Back then, nikiwa campus, so he supported me. I have an initiative called Hidden Smile. With Hidden Smile, what we do, we reach out to kids who are in children's home. We go mentor them, we go talk to them, we go show them love, we provide what we are able to. We also reach out to street kids, we talk to those who are depressed, like we try to give back to the community, if not financially, then mental health is very important, because if I was in a good mental condition back then, I would not have tried suicide, I would not have done some crazy decisions that I made. So apparently that is what I do. In full-time ministry. I'm also into business, and I also do charity works.
Okay.
God will always provide for His will. So if you are really determined, God will always create a platform for you to live your purpose, finances to live your purpose, people to connect you to your purpose. So all those things God will provide. So let your purpose keep you going. Another thing I would say, always believe that God has a better reason. Don't go for whatever is available. For example, don't go if you find a man, these sponsors who are telling you ndakupatia gari, ndakupeleka shule, don't bow to that, because when you bow to that, you terminate God's provision, you terminate His ways of bringing things your way. Because, for example, I've had instances where I've had people who said, I'll give you this, I'll do that for you. For example, when I finished college, I went to work in KU, Kenyatta University, and my boss there, who I will not mention, was also very, 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 very arrogant to me. He wanted me to bow to his indecent whatever. So if back then I was like, I'm an Ichukwetu because I need that promotion, I need that job, maybe today I will be a different person, probably a single mother somewhere with kids, no job, no hope in life. Don't bow to those things, because when you do that, you terminate the ways of God, the will of God, the ways of God kwa provision yake. So don't bow to those things. It's not only about sponsors. Don't bow to drugs. Najua watu wanasemanga in Kikwetu we say kuhigura roko. If you don't drink kitu kidogo asubuhi, if you don't take that pombe, you're not okay. Don't bow to that. Do not be a prisoner of things that you can do without. Do not be a prisoner of things that you can live without. Do not be a prisoner of things that will make you so miserable to a point where people in the community don't see your value. Just always look unto God, because He's the author and the finisher of your faith. He will always give you that which He promised. Why even the Bible says that before you were born, before we knew you, God knew you. Before you were formed in your mom's womb, God knew you. He knew you would live to be that person. He knew you would live to be a better person. He knew your purpose in the world. So don't allow yourself to terminate that purpose in God amekupea. Another thing, if you are in a position to give back to the community, do that. It doesn't have to be children's homes. You can reach out to that neighbor, your next door neighbor. People are going through tough times, because watu wangeniangalia from the outside, they thought I was very jovial, they thought they loved my smile, but they didn't know what was going inside of me. And if they knew that, if they reached out, if they wanted to know beyond the smile, probably I would have made better choices. So give back to the community, reach out to people, reach out to those street kids, go share with them. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, doesn't have to be money actually. Going, talking to somebody, or listening to somebody, allowing somebody to talk to you and you listen, that is giving back. So find something that you can give back to the community. So to support our initiative. Right now I'm doing a campaign called Make a Girl Smile. We're doing sanitary towels collection for ladies in the street, and if you would wish to support that, we have our page. It's called Hidden Smile. Iko pale Facebook, Hidden Smile, also Twitter. I have my own page also, Blessing Wamboi utanipata. Our number 0710882688. We also have an email, or you can get to me through my email, blessingwamboi7@gmail.com or wamboimogo483@gmail.com, and God will bless you as you purpose to bless others.
In a parting shot, say hi to 2-3 people if there is. Yes.
So I would like to say hi to one of my closest friends. One person who helped me through that was Mike Kibe, and also to my best friend Anaitwa Anthony, and to every friend who's been there for me, every person mwenye amenisupport through my life, to the Gospel Revival Center Church members. You've been amazing people. And finally, to my grandma, you might not see this, but I hold you specially in my heart. My brother, you're very dearly loved. And to Dennis, thank you for giving me a platform to share. Feel appreciated. And so stay focused. Do not abort your vision because of the things that are temporary. Stay focused. Let your purpose drive you and keep you going.
Kenya, Arizona Diaspora Hope TV, giving hope to the society.